It's hard to overstate how socially devastating financial bubbles can be. They ruin their lives. Why do these things happen? And why do they keep happening? Why can't we learn our lessons? The common answer here is that people are greedy, and the greed is an incredible feature of human nature. That may be true, and it's a good enough answer for most. But remember from chapter 1, no one is crazy. People make financial decisions they regret, and they often do so with scarce information and without logic. But the decisions made sense to them when they are made. Blaming bubbles on greed and stopping their misses important lessons about how and why people naturalize what in hindsight look like greedy decisions. When investors have different goals and time horizons, and they do in every asset class, prices that look ridiculous in one person can make sense to another because the factors those investors pay attention to are different. Momentum attracts short-term traders in a reasonable way. That process feeds on itself. As a trader pushes up short-term returns, they attract even more traders. Before long, and it often doesn't take long, the dominant market price setters with the most authority are those with the shorter time horizons. Investors, particularly the ones setting prices, were not thinking about the next 20 years. What do you expect people to do when momentum creates a big short-term return potential? Sit and watch it patiently. Never. That's not how the world works. It's hard to grasp that other investors have different goals than we do, because an anchor of psychology is not realized that rational people can see the world through a different lens than your own. Rising prices and persuade all investors in ways the best markets envy. They're a drug that the term value-conscious investors into dewy-eyed and optimist detached from their own reality by the actions of someone playing a different game than they are. The main thing I can recommend is going out of your way to identify what game you're playing. How I invest my own money is detailed in chapter 20, but years ago I wrote that I am a passive investor and optimistic in the world's ability to generate real economic growth, and I'm confident that over the next 30 years that growth will accrue to my investments. This might seem quaint, but once you write the mission statement down, you realize everything that's unrelated to it. What the market did this year, or whether we'll have a recession next year, is a part of the game I'm not playing. So I don't pay attention to it, and I am in no danger being persuaded by it. Okay, the seduction of pessimism. Real optimism is don't believe that everything will be great. That's a complacency. Optimism is a belief that odds of a good outcome are in a favor over time, even when there will be setbacks along the way. The simple idea that most people wake up in the morning and try to make things a little better, and the more productive that wake up looking to cause trouble is the foundation of optimism. It's not complicated, it's not guaranteed either. It's just the most reasonable bet for most people most of the time. The late statistician has arisen and put it differently. I'm not an optimist. I'm a very serious possibilities. Possibilities. Okay. When you will believe anything. Okay. All together now. Congratulations, you're still ready. It's time to tie together a few things we've learned. This is chapter a bit of a summary, a few short and actionable lessons that can help you make a better financial decisions. Okay, go out of your way to find humility when things are not going right, and forgiveness or compassion when they are going wrong, because it's never as good as bad as it looks. The world is big and complex. Luck and risk are both real and hard to identify. Do so when judging both yourself and others. Respect the power of luck and risk, and you will have a better chance of focusing on things you can actually control. You will also have a better chance of finding the right role models. Let's go, more wealth. Saving money is a gap between your ego and your income, and the wealth isn't what you don't see. So wealth is created by surprising what you could buy today in order to have more stuff or more options in the future. Manage your money in a way that helps you sleep at night. That's different from saving. You should aim to earn the highest returns or saving a specific percentage of your income. Some people want to sleep well unless they're earning the highest returns, and others will only get a good rest if they're conservatively invested. To each their own, but the foundation of the destiny help me sleep at night is the vast and universal account that guides past for all financial decisions. If you want to do better as an investor, the single most powerful thing you can do is increase your time horizon. Time is the most powerful force in investing. It makes little things that grow big and big mistakes and fade away. It can neutralize luck and risk, but it pushes results closer towards what people deserve. Because in a small minority of things you can afford the majority of outcomes. No matter what you're doing with your money, you should be comfortable with a lot of stuff not working. That's just how the world is. So you should always measure how you've done by looking at your full portfolio rather than individual investments. Use money to gain control of your time, because not having control of your time isn't such a powerful and universal track on happiness. The ability to do what you want and when you want with who you want for as long as you want pays the highest dividend that exists in finance. Be nicer and less flashy. No one is impressed with your possessions as much as you are. You might think you want a fancy car, a nice watch, but what you probably want is respect and admiration. But saving for things that are impossible to predict and define is one of the best reasons to save. Everyone's life is in a continuous chain of surprises. Savings that aren't unmarked for anything in particular and hedge against life's inevitable ability to surprise the hell out of you at the worst possible moment. Because nothing worthwhile is free, and remember that most financial costs don't have a visual price tags. Uncertainty, doubt, and regret are common costs in the financial world. They're often worth paying, but you have to view them as fees. A price worth paying to get something nice in exchange rather than fines. A penalty you should avoid. Worship room for error. A gap between what could happen in the future and what you need to happen in the future in order to do well is what gives it an endurance. And endurance is what makes it a compounding magic over time. Compounding power, compounding magic. Room for error often looks like a conservative hedge, but if it keeps you in a game, it can pay for itself many times over. Avoid extreme uncertain financial decisions. Everyone's goals and desires will change over time, and the more extreme your past decisions were, the more you may regret them as you evolve. Define the game you're playing. Playing. And make sure your actions are not being influenced by the people playing a different game. Yeah. Respect the match, smart. informed, and reasonable people can degree in finance because some people have vastly different goals and desires. There is no single right answer, just the answer that works for you. Now, let me tell you what works for me. Compassion, the psychology of my own money. Just show me what you do with your own money. The difference between what someone suggests you do and what they do for themselves isn't always a bad thing. It isn't underscores that when dealing with the complicated emotional issues that affect you and your family, there is no right answer. There is no universal truth. There is only what works for you and your family, checking the boxes that you want, checked in a way what leaves you uncomfortable and sleeping well at night. We can leave aside a bridge, but independence has always been my personal financial goal. Chasing the highest returns and leveraging my assets to live the most luxurious life has a little interest to me. We are so far committed to the independence camp that we've done things that make a little sense on paper. We own our house without a mortgage, which is the worst financial decisions we've ever made, but the best money decisions we've ever made. Mortgage interest rates were absurdly low when we bought our house. Any rational advisor would recommend taking advantage of cheap money and investing in extra savings in high return assets like stocks. But our goal isn't to be coldly rational, just psychologically reasonable. Psychologically reasonable. Eliminating the monthly payment feels better than minimizing the long-term value of our assets. It makes me feel independent. I don't try to defend this decision, and those panning out its flaws and are those who would never do the same. On paper, it's defenseless, but it works for us. We like it. That's what matters. But decisions aren't always rational. Yeah, psychologically reasonable, coldly rational. It's psychologically reasonable than coldly rational. At some point, you have to choose between being happy or being right. We do it because it catches ocean of independence and more importantly, we never want to be forced to sell the stocks we own. We want the probability of facing a huge expense and needing to liquidate stocks and to cover it to be as close to zero as possible. Perhaps we just have a lower risk tolerance than others. But everything we've learned about personal finance tells me that everyone, without exception, will eventually face any huge expenses they didn't expect. And they don't plan for these expenses, and specifically because they didn't expect them. The few people who know the details of our financial ask, what are you saving for? A house, a boat, a new car? No, none of those. I'm saving for a world where couples are more common than we expect. Nothing forced to sell doesn't cover expense. Also means we are encouraging the odds of letting the stocks we own compounding for the longest period of time. The first rule, compounding is never interrupted unnecessarily. We invest any money from every paycheck into index funds and a combination of US and international stocks. There is no set goal. It's just whatever is left over after we spend. We max out the retirement accounts in the same funds and contribute 200 kids 520 in college saving plans. And that's about it. Effectively, all of our net worth is a house and a checking account and some Vanguard index funds. Vanguard index funds, yeah, it doesn't need to be more complicated than for us. I like it simple. One of my deeply held investing beliefs is that there is a little correlation between investment effort and investment results. The reason is because the world is driven by tails. A few values and account for majority of returns. No matter how hard you try investing, you won't do well. If you miss the two or three things that move the needle in your strategy. The reverse is true. Simple investment strategies can work and agree as long as you capture the few things that are important to that strategies to success. My investment strategy doesn't rely on picking the right sector or timing the next recession. It relies on a high saving rate, patience, and optimism that the global economy will create a value over the next several decades. I spend virtually all of my investing effort thinking about those three things, especially the first first two, which I can control. First two, what is the first two? High saving rate, patience, and optimism. Okay, patience, high saving rate. I've changed my investment strategy in the past, so of course there's a chance I will change in the future, no matter how we save or invest. I'm sure we'll always have the goal of independence, and we'll always do whatever maximizes and for sleeping well at night. We think it's the ultimate goal, the master of the psychology of money, but to each their own, no one is crazy. Okay.